All right, welcome everyone. You are on with the Many Hands team, and we are excited to be here. We come to you with the content that is of most interest, with the hottest issues, current events, business, and social consciousness. So, very excited to bring another hot topic and what we think is going on. So, our team will do our quick introductions. I am Oriel Ross McKinney. And who else do we have with us?
Hi, I'm Antoine Watts.
Okay.
Who else we got on with us?
And who else do we have on?
I'm Rio Winfrey, Orlando's own model, actor, brand ambassador, and your fitness expert.
Yes, sir.
And
I'm Brian McKinney. What's going on, everybody?
What's up? I said that when I say Twan is the heart of the team, B's the strength of the team. Rio's definitely the consciousness of the team. Make sure it's the right thing. Just leaving me the brain, you know?
We will all rock with that.
Right?
We bring it together. So what's really hot this week, or it's actually not funny at all, but the new abortion bill that's going on, the law that passed in Alabama, that's continuing to trickle through the southern states and through conservatives, and the effect that it's going to have on women's rights in a nutshell. So we took some time and we're thinking about where it's going to lead us, what it means in the next 5 years, 10 years. What does it mean when it comes to the Supreme Court justice? What does it mean when it comes to the current laws that are in place? What does it mean for our overall health of the country? Because all these issues that we are facing politically, they springboard to other issues that we face in terms of our family values, our morals, our ethics, just the fiber of the country. So every little or large issue is actually rippling waves to the bigger, who is America? So I'll kick it off. I'm gonna tee it off to Antoine. What are your thoughts on where we are?
So my thoughts on it, I'm gonna start by saying I am a pro-choice human being. Along with that comes some hard conversations and hard, stipulations as well. But, just seeing what's going on in the current climate this week in Alabama, just obviously want to touch a little bit on that right off the bat. So, basically two things that that will come out of this with this Alabama ruling. One is Alabama will be the strictest state when it comes to abortion laws by far. But two, again, like we talked about previously, this opens up the door to Roe v. Wade. And that is the conversation that I believe individuals supporting the bill want to eventually get to. Because as of right now, in the Supreme Court, it leans towards a demographic that would support possibly overturning that law. So right now, I just think this is the beginning stages. I believe this is one of those chess versus checkers moves that it starts out there, but I think everybody understands it and they see it, but I don't know if everyone understands the impact this really could have.
I don't think that has anything to do with the face value of abortion, or it has everything to do with, to your point, political strategy. I don't know if it'll get to the Supreme Court. I don't know if, even though they're highly conservative, if Kavanaugh or Roberts would vote for it or overturn Roe v. Wade. I'm not convinced of that yet. Far beyond me to continue to look for some kind of light in where we are, but I'm not convinced that those two justices will go in that direction. I mean, in general, I think that for me, I am pro-choice, but I do think that this is also damaging to the pro-lifers. I would like to think in a perfect world, all the women that have voted for the current administration have some level of regret, even if they would still do it over again. There's some level of regret where the attack on everything, all our progressive moves, that attack has to be stopped. So although they were part, by and large, women were part of getting the current administration all of this power that they have now, I would like to think that at one point they would vote, we would vote more so for ourselves. You know, women are voting against their interests the more that they continue to support the current administration and these type of uber conservative threat to all progression that we've attained.
Yeah, but I mean, I say let's keep it. So you're right in that women have voted against their interests. I think by and large, it's a certain demographic of women that have voted against their interests because other demographics did not vote for this president and this administration. However, you know, looking at this bill in Alabama, 25 men and one woman who happened to be the governor who had the final sign off. Bill. So to your point about women,
She signed it.
she signed
She
it.
signed
That's
it.
what I'm
I'm
saying.
like,
She could have shut it down.
they need to burn
Signed,
that paper.
like happily signed it though.
Yeah, absolutely.
So you know what I'm saying. So to your point about women, like yeah, I think there is some level. We're hoping there's some level of regret. However, I don't know that it's enough regret to stop the wheels that are returning. Because coming in this 2020 election, we're going to find out when the rubber meets the road. Like we're going to find out if those people have regrets and enough regret to say, "All right, look, you're out. You messed this up."
Yeah.
So now we got somebody else. We need to get somebody else in there.
Yeah, it was an absolutely hopeful statement. I agree with you. it was to look for the best of who we can be. I absolutely agree with you. I just would like to think so. I would like to think that there are more people looking for good.
Sure. You know what I will say though is I think tomorrow there are going to be protests in all 50 states. So the numbers say that they're there, right, for protests and for people to want to stop this. But will we get the right numbers to vote in the upcoming election to really make change? Because protesting is protesting, but it only is beneficial if there's action behind it.
Yeah. We don't even have a good front runner. I mean, Biden's technically the front runner by numbers, but nobody's sweeping the nation. Nobody's
mind blowing.
No.
Nobody's like, wow, that's it right there.
Yeah. I mean, you have Trump attacking Biden's age and character, and then Biden might slip on a word. You don't have that luxury. Like, you have to be Obama on point. Stop it.
I'm sorry, say it again. You have to be who on point?
Obama on point.
Okay.
Oh,
I couldn't hear. Sorry.
Real quick, Obama. I'm sorry, I'm done. I apologize. I'm done.
Like you can't. He's squeaky clean. You know what I mean? You can't. Trust me. If there was dirt, they would have found it.
Absolutely.
So that's more so anything else versus his policy, but he's squeaky clean. They would have found it. You have to approach it like you have to come to the court with clean gloves.
Yes, absolutely.
And it is when you have 15, 18, 20 people running for that position. And of course, there are a few that we feel will come out in the end, but you're right. As of right now, we don't know. And I want to tell you, I do agree with you with Kavanaugh and with Roberts. I don't think it's a foregone conclusion that they will vote Roe v. Wade out. I do not believe, because these Supreme Court justices also are purists in the sense that they don't believe in just overturning precedent.
Mhm.
But what would this current administration? What would happen if they went against, you know, that the man in the White House today, and he did get reelected,
45.
right? And 45. What would happen if they did not sign? I mean, it's not like he can't boot them out. I mean, they're in there,
Right.
but hey, it's just he put them there.
I was going to say, he put them there for a reason. He knew going in
Absolutely.
who he wanted. So back to the chess checkers match,
strategy.
This strategy has been going on for 5-6 years.
Well, even so, right? The beautiful. This was, again, I hate it because it went against what I believe in. But the beautiful thing is, Obama had a seat open and was trying to get the confirmation, and the Republicans
he
held out.
played by the rules. I was so mad. He
played by the rules.
Until we get this consensus, until everybody agrees. Listen, politics, it's dirty.
It's dirty.
Dirty, and you have to
figured
be
because he comes from Chicago politics, I figured he would be like, "Hey, I'm on my way out." Like, second-term presidents always like, "Yo, I'm doing what I want to do."
Yeah, go rogue. He never went rogue.
What you gonna do? Vote me out? Guess what? I'm out anyway. Like, I'm going.
No.
But with that one, obviously, that shows a level of integrity and character because he understood the importance of the seat. But I really wish he would have fought harder to get that confirmation done because obviously the seat was filled by the guy that's in the White House now.
Well, and they stoned him out. They didn't interview. They didn't want to talk to his guy. So it was not going to happen.
But that's what happens when you're not voting on a local level. That's what's happening when you can't control the Congress. Like, you can't put all of your eggs in one basket. You have to be able to understand how the system works.
Right.
Don't ask the average person on the street about the electoral college or how it works or the local setting versus the
three branches of government. Ask them anything. My aunt always tells me, she says, I'm disappointed when they stop teaching civics in school because these kids don't know anything about government.
Yeah.
And you can't even call them kids. Like, full-fledged adults don't know much about it.
Yeah. Well, it's kind of heartbreaking. You have to. This is your country. You have to fight for it. If you don't fight for it, who will?
That's true.
Whether I'm sure many people still see us as 3/5 of a man.
Absolutely.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. Yeah,
we're regressing back.
Yeah, we have to fight for it. Yeah.
All the progress made is now sliding backwards. Slowly but surely, every single day, it's sliding backwards, and we're looking at, we're looking at the distractions of the taxes and the collusion and this and that. Meanwhile, they're on the other side, rolling back everything that we've worked for to get to this point, and slowly but surely, while we're sleeping, this is happening. Yeah. And the average Americans aren't thinking about it, looking forward to talking about it.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. So, what do you think, Rio?
Well, I want to go back to, like I said, part of my ignorance. So I know I mentioned earlier with me being pro-life. So this makes sense now. You guys can correct me if I'm wrong, but I guess I'm more so in a scenario. So I don't know if that would make me pro-choice in that case. I'm just kind of going back to everything. I mean, obviously, if it's involving, maybe jumping gears here, but if it's involving like rape or incest or anything like that, that's a whole different ball game for me. So I guess does that make me pro-choice in this case? I know we mentioned a gray area, no black and white.
Yeah.
Right. It's funny. So I'm pro-choice, but I also don't believe in somebody going out and getting pregnant 15 times and having 15 abortions. Like,
but you know what? But I agree with you. Like, do not use it as birth control. But at the same time, while they're increasing the threshold of the abortion law, the women's health law, which quite frankly is none of your business what I do, why don't you increase the punitive laws when it comes to child support? Let child support start at 6 weeks gestation. Pay me now.
If that's what it's going to be, right? If that's going to be the threshold, then hey, let's roll back everything.
Exactly. If
Absolutely.
it's full life, I'm 7 weeks pregnant, you didn't get my money, go to jail.
Right.
Forfeit your license, forfeit your passport, all that, go to jail. Garnish your wages. You know? And I mean, there's an assumption there that you're not in like a loving two-parent home, but there's also a reality that we're at a 60% divorce rate, and a reality that, you know, a lot of people aren't born within the sanctity of marriage, and it is what it is. You kind of deal with the population as it is today. And it's such a threat to who people are. You know, when does life become vital? And, you know, when you look at the pros and cons, people can argue any side of it. It's like any argument. You know, you speak to one person, you're their cheerleader. You speak to the other person, like, oh, I didn't know.
Right. Yeah.
And we're really, you know, threatening the the fabric of the country when as we overstep our boundaries.
Absolutely.
And you know, there's so much more that um, organizations like Planned Parenthood that they do. They really focus on women's health, and not everybody has access to the top, you know, facilities. So
Exactly.
there's a need for that. And overwhelmingly, it's a need for socioeconomically, Black women, Latino women. So if we don't address it and we don't protect those of us that um, are most vulnerable, then what?
Right.
And if you go back to the chess versus checkers, right? Planned Parenthood losing a high percentage of support and funding. Then there were some people that said, "Oh, this is coming." You know, the attack state by state. You're going to start to see stricter abortion laws. So that was the first piece of it, was rolling back some funding from the Planned Parenthood.
Right.
Because again, you're right. They do so much more than what people think they do.
Right. Let's be clear though, abortions have happened since the beginning of time.
Absolutely.
What we're really arguing, and they will continue to happen, what we're arguing about is, will they be done safely? Will we not lose more lives? Will we provide a clean environment so people can heal? You know, of course there's psychological issues when it comes to this. Like, I don't think anybody, making the assumption people are doing it when they have to, and that the situation's that dire, which overarching, still none of your business how dire it is or not. What happens to the woman that still gets it before? Hey, if you can get rubber cement injected into your behind, and okay, people
Yeah.
will
Good
get
point.
whatever they want done. It will happen. It will just become a black market issue.
Absolutely.
And do people that look like you and I end up in jail the same way the marijuana laws, were affected? Is it crack versus cocaine? Is it when the children, that the teenagers, when they get caught and the policeman decides you're from a good home, and they call the parents, and you couldn't possibly be from a good home, and they jail you. Trust me. Once there's any kind of contraband, any kind of restriction on something that's going to happen anyway, there's going to be more anarchy.
I agree wholeheartedly.
And how do you come across, so this 6-week thing? So this bugs me out. There's quite a few women that don't even know they're pregnant at 6 weeks. So
Absolutely.
say you find out.
Way beyond that too.
Yeah, say you find out when you're 9 weeks pregnant.
Oh well.
Exactly. And if you do something about it, we putting you in jail. We press you charge.
There are fetuses where it's detected that have profound abnormalities, where there is absolutely no chance of survival.
Mm-hmm.
You can carry the baby to term, but believe me, the baby will pass away within that first hour.
I read an article today. She carried her baby to term after she was told there was no more life, but she carried it to term, and obviously the baby was stillborn. So it's just.
Did the article talk about any regret?
So this was the thing. She absolutely did talk about the regret of doing it, but her reasoning was a little bit different on why she did it.
Voting against her interests.
I'm sorry?
Voting against her interests.
Yeah, voting against her interests, right? But, at the end of the day, it was her choice. She reserved the right, of that, and I agree with that. But, you're right. I mean, this is, the doctors, I think they told her at like 15 weeks.
Mm.
And she still carried the baby, but 34 to 38 weeks.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I'm not gonna lie to you. I couldn't do it. I won't do it. I couldn't do. What do you put yourself through that for? You know, they'll even argue that fetuses can feel pain, and then there's the other side of it that pain is more associated with this external environment. So people will manipulate data and information in any way that will suit their argument, and that's part of the problem. That's why the country is so divided right now, no matter what the issue.
Yeah, I
So,
think
uh-huh.
also, I mean, at the end of the day, with the country, what they're attempting to do is we're just going back to the old school days. I think you might have touched on it earlier. It's becoming just more barbaric. Obviously, there's going to be the racial aspect. We're talking about abortion this evening. Everything is they're trying to set us back. 45 is setting us back in all different areas. You know? And this is the latest one here. We're talking about abortion this evening, and next week I'm sure something else.
We're talking about women's rights. Once you're in this era and you don't believe that women have the full authority and autonomy over their own bodies, and rape is okay. And wait, where was that comment that was like, once you can't call rape after the start of?
It's after the start of it of consensual sex.
That was
no longer be rape.
You cannot retract being consensual sex. I was like,
Yeah.
So, but when does that start? When does that start? Is it the kiss, or is it just the, or?
They haven't defined it fully.
Okay.
They want to define it as, oh well, you shouldn't have worn that short skirt. Like you know.
You invited it.
You invited it. It is mind-boggling. Some of the quotes I've seen that some of these politicians have said is in that, oh, what's no big deal? Rape is no big deal. Just get over it.
Yeah.
But who's timing it though? Who's on the clock?
Say that again.
But who's timing this? Like, who's on the clock? Because they said there's what was the actual time that it was mentioned though? There's a certain amount of time that you have before.
Oh, I don't know. We have to pull up.
Are you
12 hours?
Be saying 12 hours.
12 hours.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, so it's like, so we start at 3 p.m. So I have until 3 a.m. to figure out what I'm gonna do.
Which is the craziest thing.
Right? That's what I'm saying. It's all ridiculous. It's all ridiculous.
Let me tell you, dudes will wig out at 2:59. You're like, well, hold up. You know, and I always try to set my clock 5 minutes fast. I'm confused. I missed the whole situation. I ended up in court because I set my clock wrong.
Yo, for real.
Daylight savings time, what?
Okay. But it's so ridiculous.
Yeah.
But see, this is the thing, right? It's so ridiculous that we're like, obviously, none of us think this is a laughing matter.
No.
But it's that ridiculous that you can't sit there and say grown people, we'll say educated people, are able to get up in front of other people and make these statements. And their public record
may or may not be educated. They could have walked their way in.
That's why I was like,
into the first scheme. Okay,
yeah, you're absolutely right.
And you know, I just lost my train of thought. Sorry.
All right. Well, let's type some final comments. Who could tie this up for us? Button it up. Button up. Twan, you're on.
I would just like to say, I believe you're exactly right, that we are making this about an abortion issue when it's really a women's rights issue. And I think if we get bogged down in the abortion conversation, I think that will get lost. And I actually think that's the direction we probably should take. And I think that will incite women to take ownership over themselves in the voting process as well.
Yeah.
So I really do believe it is about the women's rights issue and not so much the abortion issue. That shouldn't be the conversation.
Right. And I think my closing statement is we have to protest differently. You know, just having a sit-in is not going to work.
Right.
Just it's not going to work. We have to be able to employ through voting and dictate what has to happen to protect those of us that are most vulnerable.
I mean,
So
look,
less traditional measures and a little bit more thinking outside the box, in a sense.
Use the courts, use our politics, use our laws the way they were designed, and fight this thing. Get people in office that will fight for us. Will fight for women. B.
man, why have we just a question out there? Why have we made women's rights more important than banning guns? We're worried about controlling women's rights than we are.
Exactly.
Guns.
Nobody's pro-life when it comes to guns.
Exactly.
Talk for another day.
Great statement, yeah.
Thank you all for listening.
All right, everyone. I appreciate everyone, and we will be out.
Grand opening, grand closing.
Yes.